Good afternoon. Thank you for your patience. We're convening the Joint Committees on Energy, Intergovernmental Affairs, and our good friends from the Committee on Economic Development and Tourism. It's a little after 3:10 in room 016 on this February 11th, 2025. This hearing is going to be streamed live via YouTube, and if there's any kind of technical difficulties, we will make a public notice as to when these two committees will reconvene. We're going to limit testimony for those who are testifying to 1 minute. We have one bill on this agenda, that is Senate Bill 1338, relating to long duration clean energy storage. On our testifiers list, we have Mark Lick from the Energy Office.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Senator Cameron Black, on behalf of the Hawai'i State Energy Office, who stand on our testimony and support.
Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you.
Jimmy Tokioka from DBED has submitted testimony and support. David Molinaro from HTDC.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chair, senators. David Molinaro, director of HCAT, standing on our testimony for Senate 1338 as submitted.
Thank you, David. And Julie Yunker from the gas company has submitted testimony support. Anybody else wishing to testify on Senate Bill 1338? If not, members, any questions? Wait, do we have quorum?
No, I mean, so we have, we saying, you guys get what we don't know. I mean, how long? Everybody in hearings.
Okay, so you mind if we vote and then you?
Yeah.
Okay, defer to some date certain. Okay, so for the EIG committee, we would like to pass this measure out with technical non-substantive amendments, as well as defect the date to 5/13/2040. Any discussion? If not, Senator Chang, I vote yes.
For the EIG Committee on SB 1338, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair votes yes. Vice Chair aye. Senator DeQuoit.
I,
Senator Richards.
Aye.
Senator Favela is excused. The recommendation is adopted.
and then, I'm gonna defer for 5 minutes.
Okay, like that wishful thinking. Okay, we are going to adjourn this hearing and then reconvene when other folks show up. We are back, the Energy Intergovernmental Affairs Committee on this February 11th, Tuesday at 3:20 or so in room 016. Again, this hearing is being streamed live via YouTube, and if there's any technical problems, we will post public notice as to when we will reconvene, and we will have testimony limited to 1 minute per individual. On our on our agenda, we have Senate Bill 233 relating to climate resilience. First on our testifiers list for this measure is Mark Lick from the Hawai'i State Energy Office.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Senators Cameron Black, on behalf of the Hawai'i State Energy Office, who stand on our testimony and support. Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron. Sherry Pollock has submitted testimony support, and Beatrice DiRego also in support. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on Senate Bill 233? If not, members, any questions for Mr. Black? No, we're going to move on to the next measure, that being Senate Bill 492 relating to the general excise tax. Excuse me. On our testifiers list is Gary Suganuma, or someone from Bill Tax.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Winston Wong on behalf of Bill Tax staff, and also testimony, just noting to the record that Bill Tax can administer the measure as written as proposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Winston. Holly Watson from DHHL has submitted testimony support. Mary Alice Evans from Office of Planning. Thank you. Derek Kawakami from Kauai in support. Alice Lee from County Council has submitted testimony support. Natalie Iwasa is in opposition. Jared Tsuchiyama in support. Lauren Zerbel from the Food Manufacturers Association might be joining us via Zoom. Trent?
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Thank you, Trent. Ted Kafalis from Grassroots Institute is in opposition. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on Senate Bill 492? Not members, any questions? Okay, we are moving quickly to the last measure on this agenda. That is Senate Bill 1638 relating to water resources. On our testifiers list, we have Ernie Lau from the Board of Water Supply.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. Ernie Lau, Board of Water Supply, Senator, testimony in support of SB 1634.
Thank you, Mr. Lau. Melody Aduha has submitted testimony in support, and Sherry Pollard also in support. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on Senate Bill 1634? If not, members, any questions? Mr. Lau. Mr. Lau, your testimony actually wants to bump up the numbers to 20 million. No, you want to do six, sorry, you wanted to do 6 monitoring wells instead of 2 monitoring wells, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, we've also included in our testimony some of the bid amounts or contract amounts for existing monitor wells that are underway. It's around $3 million a piece. So we're $20 million, we think we can get to maybe up to 6 monitor wells that can be installed.
Okay. I'm always hesitant when you say like you have this number and then you force the number of monitoring wells to fit 20 million. Do we really need 6 monitoring wells?
Yes, we actually do. Right now there's about Navy's installed about, and well, maybe let me back up. The Red Hill facility, and I know, Senator, Chair, we've talked in the past, 20 large underground storage tanks built and put into service in 1943, 250 feet tall, 100 feet in diameter. The facility stretches out over a couple thousand feet under the Red Hill Kapukaki Ridge. It's also connected by pipelines all the way to Pearl Harbor. That runs about 3 miles from Pearl Harbor to the Red Hill fuel tanks. So over its 80-year history, leaks could have ranged from 644,000 gallons to up to maybe 1.9 million gallons of fuel of various types that could have leaked at the facility. And also in November of 2022, they spilled 1,300 gallons of firefighting foam concentrate liquid that's used to create AFFF to fight fuel fires. They spilled that on the ground and that was released into the environment, and it contains PFAS too. So the monitor wells that the Navy's installed, there's about 35 or so that they've installed. The majority are actually located on Navy property where the tanks are located. But outside Navy property, in Halawa Valley and into Mauna Loa Valley, there's been less monitor wells installed. So the idea is we only see part of the picture.
Yeah.
You only see where the
Mr. Lau,
wells.
sorry,
I'm sorry,
cut
go
you
ahead.
off, but
Okay.
now my colleagues from EDT have quorum. So if you don't mind, we're going to get back to you. But
No
if you
problem.
don't mind, we're going to
Thank you. Decision making on the Tuesday, February 11th, 3:10 agenda. In joint committee with Energy and Intergovernmental Affairs and Committee on Economic Development and Tourism. So we're voting on SB 1338 relating to long-term duration clean energy storage. And we're passing with amendments,
technical amendments, and then the effective date was 5/13/2040.
effective date 5/13/20. No, 2040, not 15, 2040. Any discussion? Okay, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair goes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Kim is excused. Senator Awa.
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, and with that, we are adjourned.
Okay, like magic, we're back to 320, our agenda, and we left off on Senate Bill 1634 relating to water resources. And Mr. Lau, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but please continue describing the situation at Red Hill.
Very simply, so the fuel tanks are on the ridge between Mauna Loa Valley and Halawa Valley. And most of the monitor wells that Navy's installed are actually around Navy property on that ridge. But Halawa Valley, there's a lot of Halawa Valley where there's no monitor wells located, and also even less monitor wells into Mauna Loa Valley. So the idea here is there needs to be more monitor wells installed to actually locate where contaminants that emanate from this facility over its 80-year history have traveled or is traveling, and in which direction. So the idea here is to add more monitor wells to this effort. The Navy's continue to install monitor wells. Board of Water Supply has stepped forward to install monitor wells, go through that effort also to supplement the information. But remember here, we are talking about a state resource, a public trust resource, and we're trying to protect that resource. But really locating where the contamination has spread from the Red Hill facility is key to the idea of determining whether the Navy can clean it up. Because you can't clean up something that you don't know where it's moving and located right now. So simply that is the request.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think obviously the monitoring wells give us a better idea of how the water is flowing, but I mean, the Navy has 45 monitoring wells. I think if we add 2 more and more in the future, how many does the Board of Water Supply have in this area?
We have 2 monitor wells, one installed and one under construction. We have 3 more that's going to enter construction.
Okay, so that'll get us plus 50 total
Yeah.
monitoring wells.
That's still not enough because the Red Hill Vibe report, which was a effort jointly between the state and the city, actually where we identified the need for up to maybe 122 monitor wells to provide a better grid of monitor wells. So this would contribute to the effort, but would not get us fully there.
122 monitoring wells at $3 million a pop.
Right now, that's our price to do it. So this burden should really be on the military. But in the meantime, I think the military is gonna probably move in different directions. I don't know we're not sure if they're going to be still aggressive in trying to install more monitor wells and get support from Congress to put more monitor wells in the ground. So this effort helps us keep moving forward.
Okay, but the 6 monitoring wells that are contemplated in this bill are state and city lands, correct?
State, city, and also private lands, if we're able to work with the private landowner to get permission.
Okay, well, that's a lot of expensive pukas we're putting into the ground.
Yeah, it is. But imagine now the Red Hill facility and the almost 1.9 million gallons that could have been released over its 80-year history. The impact on the water resources in the area. It's something that although they've emptied most of the fuel out of it, there's still some residual fuel and sludge they have to clean out of each of the tanks, and also remove the 3 about 10 miles of pipeline, 3 large pipes running 3 miles each. It is determining the impact on the water resources in the area that's really critical. And that effort's going to take many, many years to actually get done because they're still drilling monitor wells. There's been some test of trying to do some remediation efforts, but the results were very marginal at best. So we are facing a really big challenge here. And I personally have been on this issue now for 11 years. So I appreciate the support of the Senate.
Okay, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Lau.
Thank you.
Question?
Senator Richards.
Yeah, follow up, Mr. Lau. So we're talking 2 separate valleys because this is on a ridge, is that correct?
Right. So if this was Red Hill, and all the fuel tanks are in Red Hill, Mauna Loa Valley would be on one side and Halawa Valley on the other side, where you have the H3 and the quarry. So Mauna Loa Valley, the Red Hill fuel tanks sit underground. The bottoms of the tanks are only 100 feet above the top of the aquifer, and they've leaked over its 80-year history. So groundwater, we think, because of the differences in the height of the water table measured from above sea level, it's higher in Mauna Loa Valley and lower in Halawa Valley. So I think there's a natural gradient toward the west. So across Halawa Valley, we have our Halawa Shaft, one of our largest sources for Honolulu, over 10 million gallons a day possible from that one site. But we also shut down Halawa wells and Aiea wells. And to the west of that, we have more BWS wells to the west. Kalawa wells, Kaamilu wells, Kaunohi wells. So our concern is how far will contaminants emanating from the Red Hill facility make its way eventually across the valley. We are right now detecting PFAS chemicals in our Halawa shaft, something we didn't detect in 2020. 2021, we started to see a hit there. And now consistently, we're seeing PFAS in our Halawa shaft. And I want to be clear though, because I've been accused of saying it's coming from Red Hill. I don't know 100% it's coming from the Red Hill. I also don't know 100 with certainty it's not coming from Red Hill. And the problem is between our wells on the west side of Halawa Valley and the Red Hill facility, there aren't enough monitor wells there to actually locate where the plumes are moving.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like we have two different aquifers. Is that correct?
They're actually connected. So you have the Water Commission calls it the Mauna Loa sector and the what they call the Waimalu sector, which is Halawa Valley toward Waimalu. Yeah.
So they're
connected. They're
Okay.
physically connected. When the USGS coordinated a water level survey, we cooperated with them. The Navy cooperated with them. We varied pumping at Halawa Shaft. They varied pumping at Red Hill Shaft, and they tried to measure the response across the valley. And they found a definite response across the valley where when one well, say Red Hill Shaft was shut off, but Halawa was pumping, they could measure the effect of Halawa pumping
okay.
on the Red Hill side.
What you're saying.
So it's like I used the analogy back in 2021, 22 of a glass of water with different straws. One straw, the Navy straw from the one side of that glass on the Red Hill side, and the other side is the Halawa side of the glass with our Halawa shaft and our other wells. We all draw from the same glass.
Well,
So the
that-
same connected
And that
aquifer.
makes even more sense to have your monitoring wells if they're connected because you're concerned about drift. So,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Thank you, Chair.
Sure. Any further questions? If not, members, if you don't mind, we're just going to go straight into taking the vote on these measures. For Senate Bill 233 relating to climate resilience, having heard all of the testimony and all in support, the recommendation is going to be to pass this measure out as is. Any discussion? If not, Senator Chang, I vote yes.
For SB 233, Chair's recommendation is to pass unamended. Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator DeCoy,
Aye.
Senator Richards.
Aye.
Senator Favela is excused. The recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. The next bill is Senate Bill 492 relating to the general excise tax. Would like to make a couple of amendments to this measure. DHHL pointed out that right now they cannot benefit from this measure, and we'd like to allow them if they see fit that affordable housing be placed on DHHL lands, that they can somehow in the future potentially benefit from this. So we're going to take one of their amendments on page 4, lines 6 to 8 of the bill, remove the language that reads, shall not pass on those housing infrastructure costs to the developer of a housing project. And this language, if we kept it in there, would preclude DHHL from utilizing these funds. So we're going to take that out. We're also going to make non-substantive technical amendments and defect the date to 5/13/2040. Members, any discussion? If not, Senator Chang, I vote yes.
For SB 492, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. So the 4 members present, do we have any objections or reservations? Seeing none, the recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. And members, we're on the last measure on this agenda, that is Senate Bill 1634 relating to water resources. Having heard the testimony from Mr. Lau and the Board of Water Supply, we'd like to add language on page 4 lines, essentially allowing him to use this money for 6 monitoring wells instead of what is outlined in the bill of 2 monitoring wells. And we like to, he also mentions that we should have a sentinel monitoring system to really allow him and the public to understand how the water is flowing. So we would like to put that as an appropriate monitoring program and appropriate of being funded by this bill, and also make technical non-substantive amendments. Any discussion? If not, Senator Chang, I vote yes.
For SB 1634, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. So the 4 members present, are there any objections or reservations? Seeing none, the recommendation is adopted.
Great, thank you, members. We are adjourned.